Yeah, well, the case for bombing Yemen, you know. So this is all over the place in the mainstream news now, and various arguments ensue. But the one question that doesn't seem to be coming to the forefront is why? Why do we now have to bomb Yemen? Actually, it's already been bombed, and so this recent incident with this Nigerian guy trying to blow up an airliner is just, you know, a small part of the official discourse, or I should say part of the official obfuscation of what is actually going on. Now, the most of the TV pundits, from what I've seen, are in favor of preventive, let's say, preventive bombing of an entire country, because some Nigerian guy happened to be connected with some other guy in Yemen. Yet you can just basically have your argument that you can just flatten the country outright. So, just as was the case in Afghanistan and Iraq, the argument seems to center around the location of Al-Qaeda operatives. So what if the location of Al-Qaeda operatives, you know, and that location, by the way, is a very loose term, because I'm not even sure if Al-Qaeda actually exists, except for in the minds of Western pundits and intelligence agencies, which seem to define it as a very loose term, applying to virtually everything that is going on in terms of any kind of resistance or movement which might be directed in Islamic terms against the West. You know, far too broad in my opinion. But let's just think about this for a moment. If we employ this logic and continue to employ it, as we are now doing, that once you locate a terrorist cell in a country, and now it's Yemen, you know, Sudan, then what if that terrorist cell moves into Britain, into, let's say, the Netherlands, and into Taiwan, into Hong Kong, and so on? What happens then? Are you still willing to stand by that logic that in order to defeat this sort of organization, you're going to annihilate entire nations or countries as a response to that? You know, maybe we should bomb Britain next, or maybe we should bomb Germany next. There's a lot of Muslims living in Germany, you know, and they all might be very, very bad people. This logic is simply idiotic. Except, of course, for the military-industrial complex, because it keeps their profits just growing and growing, doesn't it? As long as you can make the case that you need further arms deals with other countries, and make the case to unsuspecting Westerners that everything out there is essentially a threat, then of course you're going to be funding through your taxes, and you're going to be all in favor of that, actually, funding mercenary armies in which, you know, some people will sign up who have been basically exposed to all of this bullshit in the first place, and who will carry on the fight, except that you will not have anything to do with it, you know. you're removed from that fight. And you can feel safe as long as anybody out there just stirs up the fear and says to you, look, these guys are just absolutely going to keep you safe. You know, let's bomb Yemen, let's bomb Somalia, let's root out the strongholds, and let's fight wars against terrorism, both here at home and abroad, endlessly. The one thing that most Americans do not seem to understand is that in many other countries, and this is not being shown in America, is what these attacks, drone attacks or whatever, actually entail. They entail going after specific targets for assassination. They entail massive civilian casualties. You know, at the rate of 43 women or children a week at this point. And this is all being shown on still somewhat respectable news channels all across the world, except here in America. I had a very interesting conversation the other day. You know, I work in a small outfit here, and composed of both Democrats and Republicans, and nobody is really sure what we are anymore. But one thing we all agreed on was this: if somebody is going to tear your children to threads, and if somebody's going to blow them up, we're probably going to get pretty damn mad about it. And this is what's happening all over the Middle East. Through our very short-sighted foreign policy. All of this will do is just simply recruit more hatred and extremism on the other side. So it's not a good thing to support this kind of retaliation effort, because an eye for an eye leads to overall blindness until we all become totally blind. I'll try to post some links in some of my future videos, but this Yemen thing and this whole terrorism fear thing is just a replay of what happened during this knee-jerk reaction right after 9/11. It's no different. It's no different from that at all. And it goes beyond administrations or partisan politics and all of that. It is basically reactionary thinking at its root, and it won't solve anything in the long run. Good night.